Thought I fixed that. All right, let's go live. Yo, what's up? Happy Friday to all. We're developing this pattern where we start off these afternoon games red hot and then we blow it at night. It's been 2 days in a row, and then another day we have the Cubs money line in the game. Well, they're up 3-0. We should put that game on. We have the 2-0. We have the U.S. Open on right now. 3-2. Okay, use your words.
What do you guys have in this first game?
Cubs money line.
I had Cubs first 5 run line, yeah.
Cool. So hopefully that trend turns around. Oh, this game's going on, so let's skip right to the next one. We have 14 games to go through. It's Friday, in my opinion. Friday's the best baseball night. Friday night in baseball is kind of like the Wednesday night for NBA. Just everyone's playing, a ton of action. You could win a lot of money. You could lose a lot. I've done a bunch of both this year. So we're going to go through it. Anything else to mention? I wanted to say this on the show because a bunch of people were asking in the comments. The members page has the spreadsheets and the money tracking every hour because people are always asking where that is. So that's on the members page of KyleKirms.com to answer all of that at once. So let's get right into it. Marlins at Nats. All right, let's get started. Get my notes ready. All right, not exactly starting out with the sexiest pick. Oh, man, I should have had the pick things ready, too. This is a first 5 under here for me at -115. I said in his last start, I'm back on Sandy, and he delivered. Had an excellent start against the White Sox. I think me and Toast it was just us two on the show. And we were talking about how his FIP numbers indicate positive regression is coming at some point for this guy. He definitely delivered 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run against the White Sox in his last start, looking like 2022 Sandy. Now, I don't know if we'll ever see 2022 Sandy again, but I certainly think we're going to start seeing some better production out of him. And if you're thinking, well, Kyle, that was against the White Sox bats, though. They can't hit righties. The Nats bats have been terrible. Sweet, they got an extra inning win last night. They're still, even after that win, they're still 4-11 in their last 15. The last 14 games, they're dead last against right-handed pitching. You want to know the Washington Nationals' lifetime numbers against Sandy? They're just 12 of 93 collectively in their career off Sandy Alcantara. He just owns this franchise. They bat 129 off him with a 330 OPS. It's crazy. The reason after I was saying all that, the reason I'm not backing Miami is because the Marlins bats have also just gone cold. The last 7 days, they're right down there with Washington, 25th in WRC plus. They're batting just 198 against righties in that span, which is 28th in the league. And Trevor Williams, I kind of like him a little. He's also got some solid looking career numbers against the Marlins. He's got some decent looking splits at home. Might be a nice spot for him as well. So I think the best angle here is just to go first 5 under. Now Miami does have the bullpen edge. So if you're looking to build a parlay, I advocate against it, but I would suggest, I do think the Marlins will win this game late, but I can't lay this price. I can't lay the 1.5, and I think it's at like -165, 170 now. So just give me the first 5 under.
Yeah, so Sandy's coming off his first 1-run outing since April. Very encouraging sign. Now he's going to face this Nationals lineup that, as Kyle just explained, he absolutely owns. Last 6 starts against Washington, he's 5-0 with an 0.75 ERA and a 0.67 whip. In his last 3 trips to Washington, he's 3-0 with an 0.78 ERA, 0.78 whip. He's simply owned these bats. And that's mightily encouraging because these Nats bats are dead as dirt over the last 2 weeks. They're sitting 30th in WRC+, 30th in WOBA, and 30th in OPS against right-handed pitching. On the other side, we got Trevor Williams, and he certainly hasn't looked great, but I think he could have success against this Miami lineup. Miami's struggling greatly against opposing righty starters, with the last 6 to face them combining for a 1.26 ERA and 0.95 whip. Over the last 10 days through the first 5, Miami's bottom 10 WRC+, OPS, and average against righties. Williams has great recent history against Miami, 1.93 ERA, 0.86 whip through 4 starts against them. So I like the price on the first 5 under at -115.
Yeah, I'm on the Marlins first 5 run line. I got it at I think, minus 110. And I played it for a full unit. I can't really add much. Sandy's back to being Sandy. I mean, he's one of the guys I continue to make money with. I have no problem backing him here today. And then Nats coming home from a road trip, playing extras yesterday in Atlanta and in Houston while Marlins had the day off. So I'll take my chances with the fish in the first 5.
That Marlins lineup doesn't worry you, though?
No.
It's disrespectful to Trevor Williams. He's a gamer. All right, let's move on to the next one. Cardinals at Mets, and I'm on the Metropolitans here. Whole world is betting the Cards. Good, let them. Mets money line. It was at plus 100 on WinBet, but I don't have that, so I got it at minus 102 on FanDuel. So Mets money line minus 102. So like I said, Cardinals crazy public tonight. Miles Michaelis does have some solid looking career numbers against the Mets, no doubt. The Mets lifetime are just 20 of 104 off him. That's a 192 average and a 538 OPS. Can't argue with those numbers. He's pitched well against the Mets. He's made three career starts against the Mets in his career. The 2 of them that were at Busch Field were excellent, but the most recent one was May of last season. Not quite as impressive looking. I mean, it wasn't a bad start. 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, and a walk. Michaelis has looked shaky in his last 2 starts, back-to-back. 17 hits and 7 runs in his last 2. Look, I'm not saying my angle isn't that I think the Mets are going to smack Michaelis around. That's not really what I'm saying. It's my angle is more that everyone's talking about how cold the Mets are, and the Cardinals are just as cold, if not colder. It's not getting talked about as much because they're not under the same kind of magnifying glass. So, like I said, the Mets 2-9 in their last 11. Dreadful. But let's not pretend like the bats have been completely dead, because that's just not true. They scored 38 runs in the last 7 games. It's over 5 runs a game. I think we could definitely count on the Mets to grab at least a couple runs off Michaelis. Again, I don't think they'll crush him. Now, on the other side, Tyler McGill, my friend calls him Meatball McGill, but clearly he's only watching McGill on the road because he's actually got solid numbers at home. In his 6 starts at Citi Field this year, he's 3-1 with a 3.03 ERA and just a 2.21 WOBA. He's been good at home, man. And you want to talk about the Mets being cold? This is what I was just saying. The Cards are 3-12 in their last 15. Sure, we could talk about the Mets being cold, but how are we not going to bring that same energy when we're talking about St. Louis? And again, same thing about the bullpen. The Mets bullpen has been shaky. It's not as bad as St. Louis. I mean, the Mets are 23rd in WOBA the last 14 days. Cardinals 27th. So the fact we can get the Mets at close to plus 100 at home, taking it.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said everything that I have to say about this one. Tyler McGill is a guy that I will fade every single time he makes a road start. But put him at home, and he's actually a half-decent pitcher. Cardinals' numbers may be great against righties lately, but what I've been seeing from their games is they'll get 2 runs off the starting pitcher, then wait 8 innings to get their next run, and they lose the game 9-6. So they've just been truly terrible in every aspect. They had some golden opportunities against the Cardinals this past weekend, wound up getting swept. I mean, golden opportunities against the Giants. They wound up getting swept. They're just not a team I want to back right now. Mets are much better at home. Cardinals bats are much worse on the road. So I'm going to take the Mets at the low price here, as gross as it is, especially with the bullpen rested. We'll get Robertson, Ottavino if need be.
I can't add it. I can't add anything. I'm all over the Mets as well. Cardinals are in a spot for me that I actually don't mind with them coming out of looking really bad in a road or at a homestand and then hitting the road.
I missed your bet. I'm sorry. The Cubs just scored 2. I was all excited. What was your bet on this one?
Oh, shocking. You're watching the game and not doing it live. Okay. The Mets money. It's just the Mets as well. Honestly, like I said, it's one of those things that I just can't get behind the Cardinals. I got to see it before. I do like the spot for the Cardinals, but like they said, McGill's been fine at home, and I'm a sicko for just continuing to bet the Mets anyway. So I'll just take my pain right now.
I liked your angle. You know what it feels similar to? It feels similar to when you took the Mets in that second game of the Yankees series where everyone was against them. Everyone was backing Garrett Cole, and you basically said the same thing. You're like, listen, everyone's back at the Yankees here. I'm getting Verlander. I'll take a shot on it. And I kind of feel like it's that same type of spot for the Mets. Next up, speaking of the Yankees at Red Sox, and I wanted to go under so bad, but tell me this line isn't begging us to go under. They're begging us to go under. So if you remember, these two teams just played about less than a week ago. The 3 games were what? 3-1, 3-2, and 3-1. That was the final score of all 3 games. All 3 totals went way under. In fact, if you remember on the show, we cashed the under in games 1 and 2 of that series. And then on Sunday Night Baseball, I was scared to play the under for this reason. I was like, yo, I want to go back to the under, but this is crazy. They've scored a total of 8 runs between both teams. Like, they're probably going to start scoring. No. So here we are again. Same series, Yankees, Red Sox. Again, everything points to the under, in my opinion. But I can't do it because this total's at 10. And I'm sure Prop Beaver and Toast are going to get into the ballpark pal stuff because apparently this is a very hitter-friendly weather report. They'll tell you about that. But so for me, let's put Boston on the board. Let's put up the Boston money line at -120. And I am betting this too. This isn't a lean. It's not one of my top bets. I have 3 top bets tonight. This didn't make it. But I do have some notes that I think support Boston a little. So first of all, I was shocked to see this. Tanner Houck actually has great career numbers against the Yankees, which I was like, oh, Tanner Houck, I bet you the Yankees crushed this guy. Not the case. Sure, in his last 6 starts, he's got a 6.19 ERA at home in Fenway. All right, he's got a 6.19 ERA at home in Fenway so far in the season. That doesn't inspire a ton of hope, but if you look at his numbers against the current Yankee bats, as in not Judge, they're a combined just 9 of 64 off Tanner Houck. That's a 141 average and a 502 OPS. Tanner Houck has a lifetime 241 ERA against the Yankees. Now, also, I would imagine a lifetime 241 ERA, I would imagine most of those appearances came against them with Aaron Judge in the lineup. I didn't go through and check every single game log, but you would imagine it was. So him against the Yankees without Judge, you would think he has a good start here. But also at the other side, I kind of like Domingo Germán a little bit too. First 5 starts, not so great. 5.54 ERA and a 5.39 FIP through the first 5 starts. Domingo Germán definitely not off to the greatest start. But then in the last 7 starts, 2.20 ERA and a 3.74 FIP. Domingo Germán is pitching very well right now. He's dialed in. And by the way, we just saw this pitching matchup. Yankees won that game 3-1. So usually when that happens, I like to bet the flip-flop. The Yankees took the first one. Red Sox take this one. That's stupid, and there's no numbers to back that up. That's just something I personally like to do. Right? Like, I know see, and this is what I like about the Boston bullpen is if you look at their WOBA over the last 2 weeks, it looks a little shaky. It looks like the Yankees have a huge bullpen edge, but if you switch it up and look at the FIP numbers, Boston is actually top 10. So those numbers would indicate that the Red Sox bullpen has had some very bad luck recently. So I like the under, but it's way too square, and they're begging me to do it, so I'll just bet Boston.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to give this game the best look, but just in terms of the spot, we're getting a rematch from last week. The other side won, and then on top of that, we're getting Domingo Germán on the road where he's been considerably worse. Boston bats have been my main complaint about backing this team, but the last 2 games they had 6 and 6 runs. If they could put some similar offensive output together, and the game total does suggest that, then I like their chances to win this game. I don't know if the Yankees could keep up, even if Tanner Houck is at home. And I was looking at some Houck splits at home against righties. He's actually a solid pitcher with a WOBA below 300. So, yeah, I would definitely back Houck and the Red Sox in this spot. No need to waste your guys' time here.
Red Sox first 5 run line at plus 105 for a half a unit. Oh, you damn right. And then Red Sox money line as well. Look, Houck, I really like him. He's one of the guys that I kind of like that secretly. And then if you take a look at those starts at home, those bad numbers. So he goes 5 innings, 5 hits against the Rays. All those runs came late. Same with Seattle and Toronto. Toronto, went scoreless through 5. He gave up 6 in the 5th. Against Seattle, I think they scored 2 in the 5th, 3 in the 6th. So I have a good with Judge being out of the lineup. Obviously, I know that is regurgitated over and over and over again, but it's the fact remains they're not the same when he's in the lineup. It has to be said. So I'll take my chances with Houck pitching well. And that Wrigley. I've been betting the Cubs so much. That Fenway Magic in my favor. So yeah, I'm all over Boston today.
Cool. All right, Boston across the board. Let's move on to the next one. So next up is Rockies at Braves. What I did was I said Braves -1.5 for pass, but I actually have This is like, it's a home run prop. It's stupid. So just take it with a grain of salt. They're very low hit rate. That being said, giving out props on the show, I'm 3-1 so far. I'm not really a prop guy per se, but I'm dipping my toe in the pool. So his name, his name is Grichuk, and he crushes left-handed pitching. Let's see, home run plus 400.
Is it Grichuk or is it Randall Grichuk?
No, I call him Grichuk.
Okay.
I don't know what like his birth mother calls him. I call him Grichuk. So he's his hits, runs, and RBIs is juiced heavily to the over 1.5, despite him hitting it just 2 out of his last 8. Still juiced to -150 to the over. Like I said, he's got great looking splits against left-handed pitching, and Jared Schuster's on the mound. I don't like love this. The only reason I even put it down was I didn't want to just pass on the game. I wanted to give out something, so that's where I would go.
Yeah, this is a pass for me. Don't really want to bet the double result here, as I'm not a big Jared Schuster guy. The expected numbers are flat out awful for him. I know he's pitched a bit better at home lately, but not for me. I don't mind the +1 price tag on the Atlanta Braves first 5 run. Double result. But otherwise than that, I'm out.
Sorry, I was on mute there. Yeah, I just did a hit parlay. I'm trying to get the updated numbers.
Do you have Grichuk?
Right
Do you have Grichuk in it?
He actually is actually. I just can't find it. Oh, there it is. Randall Grichuk and Nolan Jones both to record a hit at +120.
All right, so that's a hit parlay. Grichuk. And no.
Yeah, I'm even gonna let it go. I'm just letting it go.
All right, let's move on to the next game because none of us seem to really like this. So next,
No.
Blue Jays at Rangers. This one's a pass for me. Prop Beaver really likes an angle here, but I don't. I could get to the Rangers at that price in every single aspect of this game except for Gausman. I like Gausman. I think he's pitching really well right now, and I know Texas at home at +125 or whatever. It sounds like a no-brainer, but I really think Gausman is that good right now. So pass.
Yeah, I got 2 bets for this one. Give me the Rangers first 5 money line at +124, and then give me Kevin Gausman over 5.5 hits allowed at +100. I know fading Gausman off a horrendous start is not ideal. It's not what I normally do. Normally, I'm looking to back him in such spots, but I'm going to make exception here with the value on Texas. Martin Perez sure hasn't looked like he did in 2022, but I feel he's heavily undervalued due to his home-away splits. Of Perez's 13 starts, 9 of them have come on the road, and even going back to last year, Perez is not nearly as effective on the road. And it's shown this year. On the road, he's got a 6.5 ERA, 3.98 WOBA, 6.41 FIP. That's pissed. But in his 4 home starts, he's got a 1.4 ERA, 2.64 WOBA, 2.23 FIP. He's now going to face Toronto bats that over the last 30 days are bottom 5 in WRC+, ISO, and WOBA against lefties. When he saw them last year, he pitched 6 innings of 1-run baseball at Texas. And on top of that, in his last 5 starts against the Blue Jays, he's pitched 6+ innings of 1-run ball for them. He has great history against these Jays. I think he could shine again today. On the other side, we got Gausman, and yes, the dude's exceptional, but he could blow up at any moment like he showed against Minnie, he showed against the Red Sox, and he showed against the Astros as well. Unlike Perez, Gausman doesn't really have great history against these Texas Rangers. He faced them twice last year and got rocked for a 6.97 ERA and was allowing 1.8 home runs allowed per 9. This Texas offense dwarfs the Texas offense of last year, a lineup that struggled heavily against righties. This is one of the best against righties. Looking at each pitcher splits through each order of the lineup, Gausman tends to start off rough and then really catch his groove. It's the opposite for Perez. Perez starts off amazing and then loses his groove. So I think the best edge for this game is the Rangers' first 5 money line at that +124 price. And then on top of it, in terms of the hit cloud, I'm just going to give 5 quick reasons. He's got a 3.44 OBA and 3 road night starts. He's cashed his last 6 to 7 games against Texas, averaging 7.4. All 4 at Texas, averaging 8.3. The last 13 to 17 righties, the heads of Texas went over, averaging 6.6. And through 70 at-bats, Texas is batting 286 against them, with the game total at 9. I love both those bets.
It is now 8-2 Cubs.
It's that Wrigley magic, baby. I've been riding that thing every single day since they got home. Anyway, Blue Jays money line for me. Understand that Perez has been pretty damn good at home, but that was against the Rockies, the Cardinals, the Phillies earlier in the year, and the Yankees. So good for him. The Blue Jays against lefties on the road this year. I'm seeing Matt Chapman, Bo Bichette, Whit Merrifield, Kevin Kiermaier, Vladimir Guerrero, George Springer, all with WRC pluses in that 120 range. League average is 100. I trust these bats. Texas just played a nice, big, long, emotional series with the Angels. Just not really liking the spot for them today, so I'll take my big bad Blue Jay bats.
All right, sounds good. Next up, so you guys have a disagreement there. Wonder who's going to come out on top. Detroit at Minnesota. I scripted this one because as recent as an hour ago, there was no pitcher for Detroit.
Yeah, I have no bet.
Let's just move on. We don't even know who's pitching. Reds at Astros. Give me the Reds. Reds two ways. Reds money line plus 145 and Reds team total over 3.5 at minus 110. I can't believe they're even giving us that. So let me pull out notes. So first off, Astros bullpen's pretty gassed here. Will they score some runs on Andrew Abbott? Probably. Houston's been hot against lefties. Can't deny that. Consistently good. Consistently hitting lefties for 2 weeks now. 9-2 Cubs. Let's go. So they're top 3 or 4 in every offensive categories against left-handed pitching in the last 2 weeks. But all numbers point towards Cincinnati scoring runs in this game. So I'm not really if you're on the Astros, I'm not going to debate that I think the Astros are going to score runs. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just thinking the Reds are going to score runs, just as at the same pace, if not more. Keep in mind the Reds have won 5 games in a row in 8 of their last 10. And JP France, this is proppy for stat, but he has awesome looking numbers against left-handed bats. Lefties can't hit off JP France. Here's the problem: Cincinnati don't have any of them. The Reds are so righty heavy. I mean, they have 7 or 8 righties in the lineup, and I think the other guy's De La Cruz who switch. Also, and you want to go deeper into JP France, his splits. He's got a 1.88 ERA on the road. This game's at home, and in his 3 home starts, he's got a 5.94 ERA. So he's been much worse at home. It's only 3 starts, a bit of a small sample size, but still. Just to give you an idea of what JP France has looked like at home, the Chicago Cubs about a month ago, when they were ice cold, came into Houston and smacked him around. If you were a right-handed pitcher in the middle of May and the Cubs came to your ballpark and hit up and with a righty ball and hit, you're a righty pitcher, you're in trouble. 9 hits, 6 earned runs, and 3 homers from the Cubs off him. Like I said, Houston has no Presley, no Neris, 2 of their top 3 bullpen arms. So I'm on the Reds.
Yeah, definitely on the Reds here too, especially since Mr. Hitsticks is on the Astros. I like the price here. This is way more close to a 50-50 game than it is to a plus 145, minus 180 game. Abbott's made 2 starts thus far, looked excellent in both, but the level of competition was very poor. Cardinals and Brewers, 2 bottom 10 lineups against lefties over the last 30 days. Now he's got to face the Astros, who are sitting top 10 against lefties over the last 2 weeks. I could see Abbott surrendering a few runs here, but I also could see him continuing to succeed as Corbin and Gore both combined for 2 runs through 10.2 innings against these Astros over the last 3 days. If there's one thing I'm very confident about in this matchup, it's JP France getting hit up. As he had said, the numbers against righties are terrible. Against righties at home, they're flat out disastrous. 4.13 WOBA, 3.72 home run per 9, a 4.7 K to BB percentage is really weak. Now facing a Reds lineup that starts 7 righties, 8 at times. Reds have consistently found ways to score. They're sitting 4th in WRC+, 3rd in WOBA, and 3rd in OPS against righties over the last 30 days. And what I think is a real nice edge here for Cincy is that bullpen situation. I believe Kyle mentioned it, but no Presley, no Neris. Back-to-back days they used them. Reds bullpen has all those arms rested. And on top of it, if you look at the last 2 weeks, they're top 5 in both ERA and WOBA. They're red-hot bullpen. So yeah, gotta play the Reds money line here. I'm gonna play that Reds team total over as well. They continue to hit it, and I'm also gonna play JP France under 5.5 Ks.
Yeah, I can't add anything to that. I'm on the same bets as Kyle. Sorry. Reds first 5 team total over 1.5 at -130, and then Reds first 5 money line, Reds money line. Same exact. I mean, I literally cannot add anything else than what they've already said.
So we're all on the same page there. Cincinnati
Yeah.
up.
I would have. I can tell. All I can tell you guys is that not YouTube, but everyone else is that I'm going to continue to bet this team until they at least lose 2 in a row. Like, there's no reason for me to stop backing him at this point. I bet him every day in KC. I'm going to continue to back him until they lose.
Yeah, I mean, can't argue with their success recently. Next game, Reds at Royals. That's wrong. Okay, so it's Angels at Royals, but for whatever reason, it's the Reds logo. So this is Angels at Royals. This one. So actually, this isn't one that I like. Angels are pass, but they're begging me to bet.
Let me go then. Why don't you just take a seat on this one? Royals money line for sure, no question about that. Look, Angels are coming off a huge series with Texas, and they looked great, but they've got true issues right now. That infield is very limited. No Neto, no Urshela. Rendon literally could not swing the bat last night. He was bunting on every pitch, so you're not going to have Rendon. If Drury comes back, so what? I'll give them that. The Angels bullpen was used a lot in that series. I just think this is a fantastic spot. I understand that Singer hasn't been great, but situationally, this is a fantastic spot for KC. I have to take the plus money. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, I've bet KC twice in that Red series. 2 absolute gold mine spots, and they sucked.
Yeah, well, they played the Reds, so that's come on.
I mean, I don't really know if it's that. It could more so be the fact that they're missing Pasquantino, and they're also missing who's the other guy that just got hurt. I believe Perez just got hurt and injured his thumb.
Yep.
So yeah, no way am I backing the Royals. No way am I backing the Angels. Pat.
I mean, he said, yeah, well, they played the Reds. The Angels are like 13-2 in their last 15 games, man. It's not like you can see that the Reds hot and not mention that the Angels are hot. But yeah, like Proppy said, there's the books keep pricing these Royals, like these Royals games, like they think Kansas City's going to win. I bid on it twice. It's clear that the sharp play is to take Kansas City. There's no question about it.
I've taken the sharp play with Kansas City pretty much every time available and lost pretty much every time available. Refused to do so.
I'm not betting the Angels, so I'll root for the Royals for toast. But I can't.
I'm not gonna work.
I can't do it. I can't go down that road again. Pirates.
I'm just saying that the Angels. I mean, even in that Angels bullpen, I mean, Estevez worked 20 pitches. He walked 3 guys. DeVinci had 20 pitches. Webb had 18 pitches. I mean, it's just bad. It's just all bad news for that Angels bullpen.
Yeah. All right. Next one. This seems like a. First, I was passing, but now that I can get the first 5 under at 5, I'll do it. First 5 under 5 at -120. So first of all, it's the Milwaukee Brewers against the lefty. So right off the bat, you should be looking to fade that in some way, shape, or form. This lineup has been absolutely terrible against left-handed pitching this whole season. Not to mention they've lost 6 in a row. So certainly not hot right now, those Milwaukee Brewers. They got swept by Oakland, as you know. I know people are going to see Rich Hill and get a little bit concerned. But look at his recent numbers. I mean, Rich Hill's actually throwing pretty well right now. In his last 2 starts, he's got 13 2/3 innings. Just 3 earned runs and 11 hits over 13 2/3 innings. That's solid. He's been pitching better. As far as career Brewers numbers against Rich Hill, if you remove Christian Yelich, the rest of the Brewers lineup's just 2 of 17 off him. Christian Yelich is 5 of 15, by the way. So it's like he has monster numbers. But I'm saying the entire Brewers lineup minus Christian Yelich has never hit. This guy hasn't seen much of him. I think it's a decent spot for Rich Hill to make it 3 solid starts in a row. And then on the other side, how could you really doubt Julio right now? This man's dealing. He's made 4 starts on the season. He's thrown 24 1/3 innings. He's given up 4 total earned runs in all 4 of his starts this year. 4. I really want to take the Pirates bad, but but I can't do it with their bullpen. I'm absolutely terrified of this Pittsburgh bullpen right now. It's the worst bullpen. Statistically, it's the worst in baseball over the last 14 days. It's also kind of taxed right now. They're missing 2 or 3 of their long relievers. So if Rich Hill gets in any sort of trouble, the Pirates might be in a situation. So I'll just stick to the first 5 under.
Yeah, I'm on the first 5 under as well. Julio Teheran is definitely a guy who is going to see some negative regression throughout the season, no doubt about it. His 3.53 FIP is a whole 2 points higher than his 1.48 ERA, but even that 3.53 FIP is very, very solid. Now going to face a Pirates lineup whose numbers I think are extremely inflated due to that McGill start, a guy who is a terror on the road. The last 7 to 8 starting righties, if you take McGill out of the mix, have held them to 2 or less runs. And Teheran has pitched well against Pittsburgh in his past as well. Both bullpens have been a nightmare over the last month, and I think the books are trying to trap money on that under with these 2 pitchers, and then people get fucked over by the bullpens. I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to take the first 5 with the under here.
Yeah, I'm on the Brewers. I'll take the Brewers on the money line at whatever it was. I think I got it at like minus 115. I think of what it was. But yeah, I'm going to keep on fading the Pirates. I understand that the Brewers don't hit lefties very well, but Tehran's been very good for them. I trust that bullpen. And then, Yelich, like you talked about, Yelich, really good stats. So Yelich has been also on fire, one of the hottest hitters in Major League Baseball right now. So I'll take him over 1.5 total bases at plus 140 with a huge plus price. But yeah, I like the Brewers here. I like them to bounce back. I understand they took a couple hard losses in Minnesota, but back at home against this dreadful Pirate team, I'll take my chances with a short number.
Yeah, I mean, I as far as the second half of the game, if the Pirates have any sort of lead after the first 5, I think Milwaukee Moneyline Live might be worth a look, just because the Pirates bullpen is in tough shape.
I like that Yelich bases plays. Rich Hill's, he's good against righties on the road, but against lefties, he's pretty terrible. One of the only lefties will be in that lineup. That's a nice.
Thank you, Beaver.
Let's move on to the next one. Cleveland at Arizona, and I'm going to go ahead and rock with the Guardians. Cleveland, first 5
Shocker.
money line. Cleveland, money line. I know it's tough. Arizona coming off 3 straight losses is tough. That's definitely a part of an aspect of this game that I don't love for Cleveland. But other than that, Zach Allen does not scare me right now nearly as much as he normally would. His production has definitely dropped off a little. And I'm not just talking about the Tigers start. That was a Sunday afternoon. Was that even? It might have even been a doubleheader. No, I don't think it was a doubleheader, but it was a Sunday afternoon. It was a weird spot. Not even just talking about that. His first 8 starts of the season, he had a 2.36 ERA and a 1.65 FIP. He was off to an elite start, looking like the favorite for the NL Cy Young. But his last 5 starts, a 4.15 ERA and a 3.48 FIP. We're talking about completely different kinds of production. He hasn't been terrible, of course not. It's Zach Allen, but definitely a drop off. By no means am I saying Cleveland's going to crush Zach Gallen, but I actually think they'll grab at least 2 or 3 runs off him. On the other side, though, is T-Mac. Tristan McKenzie is an absolute monster, and I know Houston got to him in his last start, but start before that, 5 innings, 1 hit shutout on the road in Minnesota. This dude absolutely owns lefty hitters. Last season, he only has 2 starts on this year, so if you go by the splits are true this year as well, but it's only 2 starts, so last year, lefties were hitting just 194 with a 589 OPS off Tristan McKenzie. Arizona's lineup should have 4 true lefties in it and 2 switch hitters, so Tristan might be pitching at 6 left-handed bats tonight. As expected, the entire world is betting Arizona. You can see here from these charts, everyone's on Arizona. Everyone's sleeping on T-Mac. I like the Guardians, and I like Tristan McKenzie in this spot.
Yeah, this is a big old pass for me. Have no interest in fading Gallen at home. I know Kyle's mentioning the fact that Gallen hasn't been quite as potent lately, but matter of the fact is most of that damage came on the road. And if you want to point to his last home start being bad, he faced a Braves team that could not have been hotter at the moment. So I'm going to give Gallen the pass there. Still think he's dominant. He's great against lefties at home. I know that going back to last season, I think he excels here. On the other side, Tristan McKenzie, another guy who I think should excel in this spot. I know the D-backs bats are definitely scary, but McKenzie against lefties is nuts. The guy's numbers are just laugh out loud good. And I think he could go out there and put on a good performance. Where I think the runs will come is later in the game. Cleveland's bullpen is taxed to all hell. So that's why I'm definitely scared about backing them. And then in terms of Arizona, they also used some of their high leverage arms last night. So I think my bet here would be a first 5 under at 4 and then pass on the full game.
Yeah, I really like the over. I like the over 8 in this game. As you guys talked about, first of all, these two offenses are pretty damn good. I understand that Cleveland's been bad, but in this month, they've got an above average WRC plus and like a 775 OPS. And then for Arizona, they've been fantastic essentially all year, a top 10 offense, especially at home. Beaver alluded to the bullpens being kind of taxed. I just think that we see some runs here in the desert. I don't really trust either pitcher that much. I understand that they both can look good at times, but I don't want anything to do with a side. But I think that now that it's going over 8, or going at 8, or moving from 7.5 to 8, I'll take my chances with an over.
I like it. I like it with these two pitchers. A lot of people might be thinking under. Those runs aren't going to come off T-Mac. I'll tell you that. Let's move on to the next one. Rays at Oakland. Oakland first 5. Oakland full game.
Dude, I fucked up the graphic, I guess. That's supposed to be fucking Phillies at A's. God damn it.
Well, give them.
Oh, yeah.
Still got to tell them your play, Beaver, either way, because
it's the same play. You all know what it is.
I mean,
but you have all the numbers written down. It sounds way better if you say it.
Give me them A's here. Do we even need to say anything? This team continues to pay us out. And yet again, I love the spot for them against Walker. Walker's last 5 road starts have been a flat-out disaster. 9.15 ERA, a 6.61 FIP. His opponent scored 3+ runs through the first 5 in 3 of those starts. And the A's have been a top 10 lineup against righties during their hot streak. They hit up studs like Sandy, Keller, Glasnow, Bradley, and Eflin. Walker, in my humble opinion, doesn't hold a candle to those guys. His main 3 pitches are his splitter, his 4-seamer, and his sinker. During their hot streak, the A's are ranked 2nd in WOBA, 4th in ISO, and 1st in run value against those 3 pitches. So I think they get to Walker here early. And then on the other side, we got JP Sears, and I'm a JP Sears fan. I like this guy. I like backing him. Over his last 5 starts, he's got a 2.36 ERA, 2.83 WOBA, a 101 WHIP. Sure, the expected numbers are not the best during that span, but I don't really expect that to be much of a problem against Philly. Philly's hitting 12th best in WRC plus against lefties over the last 30 days. But who the hell have they faced? Tommy Henry, Tyler Alexander, Joey Wentz, Dylan Dodd. I mean, none of these guys are remotely as impressive as my guy JP Sears has been lately. This is still a bottom 10 lineup against lefties on the season. I think Sears could go out there and deal. And then normally I've been riding with these first 5s, but I'm going to go the full game here because the A's bullpen has been serviceable lately. And if you look at the last game of that Arizona series, Phillies used Kimbrel twice in a row, Soto twice in a row, and Dominguez twice in a row. So they're all likely out for Philly. I think we can call the bullpens a wash, and we're getting a little more juice to take the full game. So give me the Oakland money line of plus 118. I also have a bet, half unit each, on the first 5 team total over 1.5 on DraftKings and over 2.5 on PointsBet at plus 160.
Yeah, I really can't add anything to that. I didn't play this side. I just played both team totals. First 5 and full game over 1.5 and whatever the full game was. Like, it's my phone froze, but yeah, the team totals. The only reason that I'm not playing against the Phillies right now is just because they have been absolutely rolling, and I don't really want to get in front of it. But I also can't play the Phillies because it's everybody in the world seems to be betting the Phillies here today. So I'll just stick with Oakland scoring runs with, like they alluded to, Walker's stats being pretty bad and that Phillies bullpen being pretty taxed. It's 3.5 at minus 115 is the full game over, or the team total.
Yeah, the graphics aren't right, so I can't show you. The public is heavy on the Phillies here, so that adds to it. But also, the angle I liked is that the Phillies just got done took 3 games in a row against the D-backs in Arizona. 3 huge wins for them without a day off. Immediately fly up to Oakland to play an AL team. I mean, no game is meaningless, but this would be classified as one of the more meaningless series for the Phillies. And meanwhile, I feel like it couldn't be the more opposite for Oakland. There's a lot of energy going with that team right now. With what's going on with their fans and the owners is kind of crazy. I just feel like there's a lot more happening with Oakland, and then the Phillies just to fly up there and play this 3-game series against an AL team, a bad AL team. I don't know how motivated the Phillies are.
And honestly, the spot necessarily, if we're looking situationally, I don't really love it for Philadelphia because that was Rob Thompson's 100th win as a manager. So maybe they were having some drinks on the plane, celebrating Mr. Thompson getting 100 wins. That was the first game the Phillies now have went over 500 this year. So do they go on a run, or did they revert back to the scumbags that they are? There's a lot of questions going into tonight.
This guy avoid the public at all costs 100% of the time. I just bet the public in 3 of the last 4 games. You gotta love the people that are just blindly offended if you don't bet with the public. They don't even notice. They don't even notice that you bet the public a few times in a row. As soon as you don't, let's go to the next one. Miami at Seattle. This is
Chicago at Seattle.
Something must have just not rendered because I definitely did the fucking graphics.
Whoa.
All right, so it's not, that's not the game that's up. It's Giants at Dodgers is next. All right, whatever. It's Giants at Dodgers. Just forget the graphics. Well, this is Giants at Dodgers is a pass for me anyway. I don't even know who that guy is. Pitching Sheehan.
Yeah,
you want to talk about him?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, he's one of their bigger prospects up there. I got some numbers on him. For Tulsa this season, a 1.6 ERA, 14.9 K per 9, a .88 whip, and opponents were batting a 1.31 against him. The youth movement for the Dodgers pitching is here. I'm all over the Dodgers. Give me the Dodgers -1.5.
I was looking at Dodgers -1.5, but I mean, I just didn't know who that pitcher was at all. It was Sheehan. So I'll put Dodgers.
He struck out 40% of the batters that he's seen. He hasn't really been up in AAA a lot, but his fastball touches 99. Opponents just really are not hitting with him. So again, could he get lit up being in the major leagues? Yeah, but this kid's pretty damn nasty. Yeah.
All right, and let's move on to the last game, and this one's pretty easy. Seattle all the way.
Yeah.
Seattle money line -130, Seattle -1.5 and +150. Probably gonna bet them both. 1 second. So White Sox coming off the Dodgers series without a day off. Kopech's on the mound. Kopech's last road start was actually okay back on May 24th. But the 3 road starts before that were absolutely awful. Mariners have had a day off without a travel. They just got to chill at home. These bats, remember, the Seattle bats are showing signs of getting hot. I'm not going to let that one flat game against the Marlins take me off that. By the way, if you watch that game, they had like 6 home runs robbed. Like the highlights from that game was just the Marlins outfielders leaping over the fence and robbing home runs, including a game-winning grand slam, wasn't it? Or game-tying grand slam?
Yeah, game-winning it would have tied the game.
Right.
It would have tied the game, but it was a grand slam in the bottom of the ninth.
And I'm all exaggerations aside, I believe there were 2 other robbed home runs in that game.
There was at least one. I can't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, Marlins just robbing the Mariners home runs. So the point being, I'm not going to let that one game all of a sudden be like, okay, Mariners bats are cold again. Just look at what we saw from the Mariners for the 4 or 5 days leading up to that. They were definitely scoring runs. Now, I know the White Sox offense did show us a little bit in the last 2 games of that Dodgers series, but one of those games was against Kershaw. I'm not concerned about the White Sox bats against a lefty. We know that the White Sox can hit lefties. We saw it last year, a lot more so than this year. We're seeing a little this year. I'm concerned with the White Sox bats against right-handed pitching because even after that series with the Dodgers, they're still a bottom 5, bottom 6 lineup in the league against right-handed pitching. But here's the kicker, and if you follow me on Twitter, you already saw this. The White Sox bullpen, good Lord. Holy shit. You ready for this? So they're completely gassed. No Graveman, no Lopez, no Kelly, no Bummer, no Santos. If you don't know who those guys are, That's 5 of the White Sox top 6 arms in the bullpen. I hope Kopech's rested because he might have to throw 170 pitches tonight. Now, I mean, prop bet wise, that I said this on Twitter. Maybe Kopech over hits, over outs. The White Sox are going to feel compelled to keep him in the game through some bullshit because they really don't have much help for him on the back end. So that just makes me like the Mariners even more, knowing the White Sox are dealing with that. So yeah, Mariners run line and money line.
Seattle.
Yeah, I can't really add much to that. Sauce stole my notes. He's really good at computers. So, but yeah, that Wu kid, I understand that he had one bad start, but that's the Rangers. And the Rangers have shown that they can tattoo everybody. Just really, really like the spot for Seattle. Even Sauce said Seattle could have scored 7 runs that Wednesday night in Miami if it wasn't for Cesar Sanchez. So it's Mariners all the way for me.
Seattle across the board. Yeah, definitely.
By the way, that Benintendi over whatever it was joke, that was funny. That was good shit.
When I sent it, I was half expecting someone to tweet back like, "I can't find that." Like, dude, he's not a pitcher. I was making a joke. He's not a pitcher. All right, let's do the community parlay. Let's get some polls going.
We didn't talk Padres.
Did we talk about the Padres and the Rays?
No.
All right. I have the notes for it right here too. All right, let's do that one. So I like the Padres. Usually I let the graphics determine what game we're talking about, and for some reason the last few graphics didn't.
I know what happened. The render thing messed up yesterday. And I saw it when I was leaving, and I forgot to mention to you, hey, there's an error on blank. I think it was game 11. So I think the final 5 games are all messed up.
It's cool. I mean, people don't know how much work goes into setting this stuff up. It's a lot. It's a lot of work.
You guys have no idea.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a reason not everyone's channel looks like this. It's because it's a lot of work. Anyway, so I'm on the Padres. So we're looking at Yu Darvish at home against Shane Mack. And I know that seems, you might look at that and you might think, okay, pitching advantage for the Rays here, reigning Cy Young winner. But the fact that this game is in San Diego, it changes the dynamic. Because if you just isolate Yu Darvish's numbers at home and Shane McClanahan's numbers on the road, then this pitching matchup is pretty even. Look, Tampa's bats on the road aren't the same as they are at home. I'm sure you've been beaten to death with that take. Remember, they were getting owned by righty starters for a while, but that hasn't really been the case recently. They've gotten to a few righty starters recently, but look at the names. This is the point I'm making. Paul Blackburn, James Kapp, my boy, Tanner Houck, Garrett Whitlock. I mean, none of those names compared to Yu Darvish in San Diego. So congrats, Tampa, for starting to hit righty starters on the road. That was one of your issues. Seems like you figured it out. But this is Yu Darvish in San Diego. It's a different kind of animal. And then you add on the fact that the Padres are hitting lefties well. In the last 14 days, they're second in WRC+. That is uncharacteristic of this Padres team. The last couple years, this is a lineup you can back against righties, not against lefties. They're turning over a new leaf. They are hitting lefties, and that's through like 139 plate appearances, too. So that's a solid sample size. But with the bullpen matchup being pretty even, both are top 5, top 6 bullpens over the last few weeks. And the public back in the Rays heavy. I'm down to take a shot with San Diego at home here in a pick'em. Should be an awesome game. I'm rolling with Yu Darvish.
Yeah, I like the Padres here just from a sharp perspective. The one complaint I've had about the Padres the entire season is I will not bet this team until they show me some consistency. And now we're starting to finally see it from those bats. We've seen recently in their last 7 games. 1 second. Sorry, this thing just buffered real quick. 6 runs, 5 runs, 6 runs, 4 runs, 4 runs, 9 runs, 10 runs. So in 4 of those games, they had actually in 5 of those games, they had 5+ runs. I know Shane O'Mac is a god. There's no disagreeing with that. I'm a huge fan of Shane McClanahan, but the Rangers were able to get 3 off of him. A lineup that smashes lefties. And if you look at the Padres against lefties lately, they are hitting lefties up. They cranked Logan Allen. They cranked Gomber. They cranked Smiley. They cranked Luzardo. Cranked Gore. They're hitting some high-level lefties. Obviously, McClanahan's the most high-level of them all. But if they could even get 2 to 3 runs off him here, I think we see a vintage Yu Darvish performance. And that's why I'm also playing Darvish over 6.5 Ks at -108 on FanDuel. He may be 4-8 to the over on the season, but he's 3-2 to the over in his last 5 at home, averaging 8.4. Tampa sitting 25th in K percentage against righties over the last 2 weeks, and 5 Rays in the lineup tonight have a K percentage of 29+% against righties. Those are huge targets. And if you look, we just saw Paul Blackburn with 9 against them, Luis Medina with 5 against them, Eovaldi with 6, Ober with 7. All those guys cash those totals, and Ober and Blackburn even hit Darvish's total. Darvish has the best K stuff of all these guys. He had 12 and 12 Ks the last 2 times he faced Tampa. I think he shows up tonight, puts on a show.
Yeah, can't really add much to that. You already know I'm on the frickin' Friars, baby. Give me the Friars on the money line.
What? Wait. You told me never bet the Padres on the money line.
Oh, was I done?
It sounded like you were pretty definitive with that pick.
Can I get the Padres on the money line for a fuel unit, and then we also have to sprinkle Padres -1.5 for +195? Thank you very much. Only thing I can really add to what they said is that you're going to have no Jason Adam for the Rays. He went back-to-back night. Pete Fairbanks came off the IL.
The reason I didn't mention that that he wasn't available is because the Padres are also missing Martinez, and I feel like that's kind of a wash. Right?
Okay, well, I'll get to that. We got Fairbanks coming off the IL, and then you have Dykeman that's worked 2 of the last 3 nights. Steffens, he only threw 4 pitches last night, but he still worked 3 of the last 4. Kelly threw 17, so that's just a lot of work. And then if you flip the page over to the Padres bullpen, Nick Martinez went last night, but honestly, I would take Steven Wilson and Tim Hill just the same as Nick Martinez. Martinez, I'll take him. He's all right, but I'd rather have him in long relief like he did last night with his 34 pitches. We still have Hader, Wilson, and Hill. I'm good with that, so I'm all over the Padres tonight.
I'm down with Hader and Wilson, but I'm a little taken back that you mentioned Hill as a positive. Dude scares the shit out of me.
He's one of those guys though, but when he's on, he's unhittable. Like he's gonna have a couple bad outings, but that weird delivery, it's hard to hit sometimes. I trust him. He's all right with me.
All right. So now let's get some polls going. Bang this community parlay out real quick. So let's go here. All right. So let's start a poll. All right, start poll. Here we go. So we're voting, in case you're new to the channel, we're voting for parlay legs. And after the 4 polls, we'll have 4 legs to make a parlay. So the first poll contains these teams. All right, go.
So while they're voting on the poll, I got a couple total base props for you guys. Freddie Freeman over 1.5 total bases at +115. As all these guys have really good numbers, just trust me. Chapman over 1.5 total bases at +100, and then Yelich over 1.5 total bases at +140.
So looks like Marlins Mets and Red Sox a 3-way tie.
No Ellie De La Cruz in the lineup tonight. What the fuck?
Oh my god.
That's good for my K under. Guys, when he's not hitting absolute bombs, strikes out every at bat.
I feel like that's the new hitter in today's MLB.
Yeah, so I'll definitely take that for my K under.
All right, I'm going to give this 10 more seconds. Wow, Marlins and Red Sox neck and neck here. 6, 5, 2, 1, and poll. Marlins is the first leg. Next poll is we should come back to Red Sox though. People seem to like them. Blue Jays money line.
Reynaldo Santiago, I got a couple K props. I got Darvish over 6.5 Ks today. I got France under 5.5 Ks today. I have not a K prop, but I have Gausman over 5.5 hits allowed. A couple others I was looking at. May post one more on Twitter, but there's 4 on there as of right now.
Poll posted. Blue Jays, Rangers, Astros, and Reds. Let's see where we get there. Curious to see who wins the Blue Jays or Rangers, because I'm curious to see where they're, as far as picking the money line of that game. They play each other.
Oh, he's in the lineup. Edward Julian over 1.5 total bases at +145. He plays for the Twins. I'll be on that. I'm betting it literally right now.
Wow, a lot of people taking the Reds. That scares me. Even with Ellie De La Cruz out.
They're gonna stack 8 righties against France. So
Yeah. All right. I mean, we can end this one already. Reds money line. Add it. Next poll. All right. Angels.
Yeah, it must be because they got Nick Senzel back. They're probably just giving him a day off because he hasn't had a day off. I don't mind Nick Senzel in the line.
I like Senzel. He was producing before he got sent down.
Let's get another leg. Honestly, this with the Reds being into that plus 150, this might be the last leg. This is going to be a juicy one. All right, Angels, Brewers, Padres, Phillies. Cast your votes.
I'd be shocked if the Angels don't win this one.
I don't know. Some Padres action coming in.
I hope to God the Angels win this one. This makes me more confident.
People like the Angels, huh?
I really wish the Royals didn't scar me the past 3 days because I would hop back on. But I mean, the things they've done to me this season.
I know.
I won't forget them for a long time.
I don't have that experience. So
it's not pleasant. It's certainly not pleasant.
I'll talk to you tomorrow about it.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2. Angels money line. What does that put our parlay at? Do we need another leg?
Plus 546.
What do you guys think? Another leg?
Another leg to it.
All right.
I'm never going to tell you to add another leg to a parlay, but to each his own.
All right. You know what? How about this? We'll do one more leg, but we'll make it. I'll just put huge favorites.
I will say, Beaver, the fact that I have Massey, Waters, and Blanco at the end of my lineup doesn't give me a ton of hope.
God, that's stinky.
Give me Michael A. Taylor back in center field for the freaking Royals.
Dude, I know, right? He's producing for the Twins.
One more leg.
Producing? I can't. How is he hitting home runs? That's what I want to know.
He hit off of Devin Williams.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not over it.
I'm not over it either.
Talking about that.
I was so upset at that home run, man.
As soon as it hit it, I tweeted. I was like, "That game's over. This game is over." And sure as shit, 5 minutes later.
Looks like the Mariners are going to take this last one. Oh, wait. No, never mind. Dodgers coming on strong. People are back in Sheehan.
Dude, that kid's a freaking beast. I mean, Michael Grove isn't that bad either, and we all know that Bobby Miller is the next coming. So.
Yeah, Bobby Miller's cool.
They've had a mixed bag thus far. Grove is pretty trash. I know he's better than he's shown, but
I know, but honestly, when you listen to those guys talk, they don't really care about him giving up 4 single shots. Like, they really don't. Like, they consider that a good outing last night. So
who's the other kid that they let start a few games? Is it Gage?
I'm not sure.
All right, 10, 9, 8. It's it's tied again. All right, 5 seconds left. Get your votes in. Mariners or Dodgers? Basically, the only votes that matter at this point. 4, 3, 2, 1. It looks like Mariners just won. What's that put our parlay at?
1 second. I assumed that the Dodgers were going to win. Okay, so so to put the Mariners in there, that would be 1051.
And what are the legs?
We got the Marlins, we got the Reds, we got the Angels, and we got the Mariners. No big favorites, so I like that.
Plus 1051. Jesus. All right. Thanks as always for watching. I will be back tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Toast, you down to wake up early for it? It's 7 a.m. your time. Reese making an appearance.
I ensure the graphics will be correct tomorrow.
Yeah, good God. Everyone.
You see him smiling because he can hear your voice?
Yeah, he we got to get Reese giving out some picks. All right, everyone, have a good night. Easy to overextend on Fridays. Remember to bet responsibly. Hit us up on Twitter if you need us. Later.